Hi, Cancer, and welcome to your January 2025 reading, Capricorn season. We're under the full moon right now, so happy full moon. As you can hear, I am getting over the flu, so if I sniffle a little, I'm sorry in advance. If I need to, I'll make any edits. However, I'm very excited to get back to this reading, because I don't know about you, but every time after I get sick, I just feel like a rush of revelations, and also gratitude for health, all of that. So before we get into this card, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. You can find me at VenusianWave.com. I plan on adjusting some things. All payment options are also below in the future. I plan on adjusting, but you can find me there. I'm on all social medias. Venusian Wave is the only tag I go by. So you can find me at all of those places. You can find that. And yeah, let's get into your reading. So first off is this Knight of Wands. Energy, passion. You may feel it more now than ever. You may feel your emotions taking you there. You may feel driven right now, an extra drive, compelled almost for a lot of you. This is showing you what happens when whatever we get like lit up, even sometimes like it's because triggers help us too. Anytime we get ignited with this kind of passion that you may be experiencing right now or about to experience or have experienced just recently, you want to do something with it. You're not the type of person to sit with it unless it's not time to act yet. You probably know that your process, you probably understand this more than anyone. Some people would call, sometimes we call procrastination, we don't realize. Hi, Cancer, and welcome to your January 2025 reading, Capricorn season. We're under the full moon right now, so happy full moon. As you can hear, I am getting over the flu, so if I sniffle a little, I'm sorry in advance. If I need to, I'll make any edits. However, I'm very excited to get back to this reading, because I don't know about you, but every time after I get sick, I just feel like a rush of revelations, and also gratitude for health, all of that. So before we get into this card, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. You can find me at VenusianWave.com. I plan on adjusting some things. All payment options are also below in the future. I plan on adjusting, but you can find me there. I'm on all social medias. Venusian Wave is the only tag I go by. So you can find me at all of those places. You can find that. And yeah, let's get into your reading. So first off is this Knight of Wands. Energy, passion. You may feel it more now than ever. You may feel your emotions taking you there. You may feel driven right now, an extra drive, compelled almost for a lot of you. This is showing you what happens when whatever we get like lit up, even sometimes like it's because triggers help us too. Anytime we get ignited with this kind of passion that you may be experiencing right now or about to experience or have experienced just recently, you want to do something with it. You're not the type of person to sit with it unless it's not time to act yet. You probably know that your process, you probably understand this more than anyone. Some people would call, sometimes we call procrastination, we don't realize that I'm sorry. We don't realize that procrastination is, sometimes it can be from, sometimes it's not procrastination is what I'm saying. We can think that it is, but really it's just not time yet. For some people, it is procrastination. And for others, there's a time and place to do stuff, to get stuff done, until you've learned to shift yourself into that energy just with ease. And I think this is what this Mars transit is showing you. Mars is now in your sign again, and it just came from Leo. So a lot of fiery energy. Mars may have put a fire underneath you in a way where, especially to do with Cancer risings, perhaps your resources, Leo would be in the second house. You may be experiencing, for some of you, some praise, some well-earned recognition, a change in pace in your life, wanting to sharpen your skills, how that affects your identity, the money, how that affects money in your relationships. If there is a Leo in your life, they may be very influential to you at this time. They may provide a listening ear. This is also about, because Mars will then go back into the second house in a couple months. Because you're getting relief there, you may, not just relief, there was movement happening there, right? So it's not relief really, it's just a change. My kitties are all playing. They're both, not all, both of them are playing. So if you hear noise, that's them running. You now have the strength. You've learned something. And now that Mars is in your first house, you want to use what you've learned. You've been reignited in your passions one way or another, in your talents, in your skills, and the way that you may want to develop resources. You are being shown right now too. Mars is also communication. I'd like to say it's action and words. How to communicate this. There's information that you're unaware of. For some of you right now, during this transit, under the full moon perhaps, there's information that is being withheld from you that is going to be revealed to you during this time, maybe during this full moon period. This information for some of you is coming from source where you're really looking within. You may be experiencing defensiveness or noticing where you've been defensive, where you've been like jittery, where you've been unable to stand your ground, stay centered. And that shows you that there's still something you don't know. There could be also someone in your life, maybe you have to be around someone they may have Gemini placements, who you don't feel so great around. You may feel these feelings come up when you're around them. And I've been telling Pisces and Virgo about being very, as much as they can, aware of the energies, about where you're going, who's coming in and out of your life, how you feel when you're around certain people, how you feel when you're in certain environments, work and home being the biggest ones. You don't have all the information. There's something that is a clue that there's something more that you're going to learn. That the more that you stay centered and grounded in what you want to focus, there's this new focus. There's this fire. There's this energy. And now you can feel more than anything, for those of you who have followed that, who are following those feelings, who are noticing what happens when you don't. You know, when you have a hunch about something and then you find out, oh, I and then you see why you should have done it. You see something happen, you're like, oh, that's why. That's why I walked this way. That's why I did this. That's why I drove that way. You're coming to a point where you don't have to think about it. It's just happening. You're like, oh, I'm just really, or you're being really guided into that space. So now here, with the specific person or situation, it's almost like it came out of nowhere. It's what was hidden. Because for Cancer risings, Gemini's in your 12th house. So it's coming up so you can understand if it's not another person and it's about you needing to learn what you need to learn about yourself and it's coming from within, then it may be time to do practices that really attune that part of you to understand. Because then when you're doing whatever it is that you're passionate about, maybe it's a new creative opportunity, maybe you love your job, maybe you love whatever you're doing, and you have so much more energy. Hold on, sorry about that. You have so much more energy now to put towards it, but you still need to be able to prime your insides. That doesn't go, you don't throw that away when everything's rolling. That's when you bring it back. Sorry, just dry. So, communication. You also, for some of you, this may be about how you're communicating right now. What you notice. For others of you, it's like people are going to act a certain way around you, and you feel it so much more clearly because you're more clear. And what you don't know yet, and what you've been hidden to, 12th house, whatever you've been hidden to, is revealing itself in this time because it's time to put to rest. Anything that you try to justify over and over again, balance is happening for you in one way or another. For those of you, if this is a legal issue, then you're about to hear the results or anything you're going to hear back, and it's going to give you the answer, the karma, whatever is coming back around, whatever it may seem to be, it's still in your favor. It's helping you lay to rest this. Under the full moon, here we are. I'm doing it under the full moon. I'm putting it out today as well. You're able to finally lay to rest an old way of being. That version of you that feels so much that you can't move forward, or you don't know how to use it, or it gets stuck inside of you. You're learning to fuel. You're learning to be fueled by what you're learning. You're learning to, hopefully, and we'll talk a lot about that in the second part. I'm also going to talk about love in a moment, because this could also be a love situation. So, when you get clear internally, and when you take that inside into your shell, you can get clear and focused. Fire and air here. Fire and air. On how to utilize this, how to recycle, how to repurpose. What's needed from what you're feeling? How is it teaching you to serve yourself and serve others, perhaps? How is it teaching you to create for yourself? How is it teaching you to care for yourself? The Strength card. What does it look like to care for your passions? To give them the energy and the nourishment that you need. Well, there's something that needs to be hands are cold. There's something that needs to be communicated with you. Something that you can't hear outward. Right? That is distraction. When you go in and close your eyes and do what you need to do, you can find balance because you see what's been distracting you. Then you get through it, then you get through it. It's like going through the jungle sometimes. Or any way that you find meditating, any way that you can center yourself, meditate, work out, whatever it is, wherever you can bring your focus. Writing, any way of creating. Cancer, you have every outlet available to you if you'd like. And this is what I was going to say before. Whatever you're learning internally, you're able to then work it out consciously through whatever you're creating. Because you bring those questions from internal to external, and as you start to work through them, as you start to notice them, you start to communicate, right? That's communicating with yourself on another level. Communicating with God on another level, or your higher power. And it's connecting and being more devoted to that. You're nurturing, you're caring for these talents as if they're your children. Right? That's why it hurts you so much when something maybe doesn't work out or something. It's, yes, there's ego involved, which is also Leo, but there's also because you care so much. Some people don't realize that how much you care, which is why you can talk nonstop about the same thing or go over and over the same thing. But it's also a way where this is a card I've learned about cardinal sign comforts. We have a cardinal sign out here. We can get comfortable in those ways in which the cardinal sign directs your cardinal water. You can get comfortable experiencing the same kind of emotions, the same kind of initiation through emotions. Oh, you've done that? You keep going back there, but you keep going back there and you're not finding another perspective. You're not finding another way out. You're not finding another way forward. You keep experiencing the same thing. This is the end of that cycle. Your mind and your body. It's so funny how in this world we talk about them being separate. They've never been separate. Your head is on your body, but we can feel so separate from our body, or maybe for some people, so separate from our heads. What gets you inside, into your feeling? What are you avoiding feeling? It's going to come back around you and show you why. Show you where this can be utilized in anything that you're choosing to put your energy into. If this is a relationship, there's a few things that need to be aired out if you want to move forward. There's a few things there's a few boundaries, there's some grounding. Water signs really need boundaries. Not that you don't know them. Sometimes you know them so well. When it hits, it feels like water hitting a rock. It just hurts. But where are those boundaries for your mind? Where are those boundaries for how you're breathing? How you're speaking to yourself? How you're purifying? Right? Because if you're only experiencing the empathy from the outer world, but you're not allowing yourself to go through that internally, then it gets stuck. We talk about the dam once in a while. The beautiful, intuitive river and abundance flow that you are can get stuck. But then you come to this moment, and I think you haven't been here in quite a while unless you've had some health shit come up in the past few years. Excuse me. You notice that this goes back to, for especially Cancer risings, how you've been raised. And Cancers normally don't mind going into the past. And it's really important that you give yourself the proper look there. How your foundations. Where do you need to implement your foundations? Yours. Where do they not match up with the ones you grew up with? And how can you really allow that to be okay? You say no more. You may have come to a point in maybe even in a relationship, whether it's the one with yourself or the one that's outside of you that's reflecting the one with yourself in some kind of way, or just showing you who you're not anymore. Because you could be coming up against someone, or you're with someone, not just coming up against them, but like you're with someone and you realize you've changed. Maybe the dynamic hasn't, and it's time to upgrade, right? Maybe you've changed and there's nowhere else to go here. There's nothing else to learn here, right? So you're making decisions, you're making moves. Your mind is getting clear. Your mind is becoming focused. You're able to get clarity on at least that for now. That whatever if you're in a relationship and something's being revealed, and for some of you, Lover's card could be infidelity, could be another person. This could be about also bringing the higher power into your life together. Just notice that in your dynamics, any of your close, intimate dynamics, what the communication is, what you would like it to become. Because you really have the power right now to move forward from any old ways of communicating with self and others. How that big vulnerable shift affects the way you care for yourself and the weight that you carry mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Where can you commit and devote yourself so much that you let go you give the weight up spiritually of what you cannot control? Notice what that feels like. Then what happens when you focus on what you can control? Notice what that feels like. What's that thing that's been, I keep wanting to do that, but I keep forgetting. Whatever it is, sign up, do it. Put it on your schedule for this week, even if it's only to do it for a half an hour. Whatever that thing is, there's a reason why it's been calling and nagging at you. If it's getting your health in order, it's having the hard conversation with someone, if it's reaching out to someone even though you don't know what you're going to get from them. There is something about clearing up karma, clearing up communication, and how that clears up some shit in your body. Because I'm under the belief that that's all real. Here it looks like it's ancestral. Here it looks like it could be held in the lungs. It's held in your heart. Also support on your back. We'll get more into that. That's Leo, Gemini, and Libra that are out here, and how those how those signs and where those signs, what body parts those signs associate with. Forgive me. There is a deep need for supporting yourself, supporting your heart, the truth. Allowing yourself to grieve. Allowing yourself to process, to feel, to heal. And how that transforms your life moving forward. This year, hopefully you already felt a little relief. Not that, it's going to be easy. The cardinal signs have really been prepared. And it's now time to see if you've learned. So Capricorn season may bring you a lot of ways in which you can understand and learn to understand. And I don't know if you know who Marianne Williamson is, but I recently listened to an interview with her. And I don't remember quite specifically where she was referring to this came from. But what's discovered in the dark is light, and light is the understanding. It's not changing anything, bringing lightness is understanding, right? Now we know Virgos, I understand, but understanding yourself and where you are now, you know, transcending that space, letting yourself be helped as well, be guided. You may even meet, for some of you, if this is about a Gemini, you may meet a Libra at the end of the month. But it's also about things moving quick, but also having patience. Hi, baby. Just came to say hello. If you allow yourself to find the block or the space between what you believe and what you were taught to believe, what you really believe, you'll find that somewhere there, with all cardinal signs, there's some superficiality until you allow yourself the opportunity. She's on my lap, so if I'm moving, we have her here. The opportunity to devote yourself and to see what emotion is that block. Is it embarrassment, a lack of power, a fear of giving up your power to something else, fear of not being in control, right? What is it? What's that block? And I think what you'll find is that through this communication and through the communication with yourself and learning to really listen, knowing that you have the skill, that skill too, and to really bring it to yourself is going to bring you so much wisdom. It's going to bring you words and moments that you didn't know you had, the words. You'll surprise yourself in these conversations because you're not trying to control it anymore. You're starting to learn that that's not the point. It's to control you, because the flow is always flowing. To be willing to listen to what's being said and not anticipate it and be surprised. For some of you, yeah. Not everything needs to be crumbled, no. But there is a version of your reality that is now finally making its way to the end. Clearing out space to be open to new information or new ideas or a better way of doing something you already do. Any of those things. Just know that there's a lot of insight here. That you may be connecting to something more. And I would say this is your general energy for the year, where you will need to understand this balance of letting things die and knowing what you're fighting for, or knowing what you're working for, what you're creating for. Learning to balance the mind, your emotions, and seeing things in a way that, yes, is personal, but doesn't take you under. Seeing things in a way where you can prosper. And that whatever is leaving or falling off or not working out or dying, whatever, wherever there's a rebirth happening, on the other side, it's because something else wants to make its way to you. On the other side, or through, right, going through it, reveals to you more air, more freedom, and just different, new. It's not your normal comfort, but it will become it. It will become normal. It's like getting a new job, doing something new. It's only new until you try it. And then if you continue to do it, it becomes normal. So here's to new habits. Here's to you creating. I'm so excited for your future, for this moment in time, under this full moon. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being here. So excited to be back. Sorry for all the sneezing and nastiness, but this is life, right? And we'll get right into your second part. I'm very excited to go deeper into this. That'll be in the first link below on Patreon. The first part's also on Patreon. If you just sign up as a member, you'll get it right to your inbox every month. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your month. And we'll see you next time, Cancer.